It's Friday, December 11th, and this is now on HNN.
It is the beginning of our path to recovery.
Hawaii is preparing to receive its first shipment of the COVID-19 vaccine soon.
I've asked if there's any issues with any of my claims, and they said no, they're not seeing any issues.
9 months later, unemployed workers still frustrated by the state's lack of response.
In the winter, because of low humidity, the virus will transmit easily.
This as parts of Asia are seeing an alarming new surge in cases.
Plus, a new way Alaska Airlines passengers traveling to Hawaii can now avoid those COVID screening lines. These stories and more coming up on This Is Now.
Good afternoon. Thanks for watching This Is Now on this Aloha Friday. Jonathan and Ashley coming to you from the H&N Digital Center. We begin with the latest numbers from the State Department of Health.
Health officials are reporting 89 new infections today, along with 1 new death. The breakdown by county shows 3 cases on the Big Island, 2 on Kauai, 19 on Maui, 57 on Oahu, and 8 people were diagnosed out of state. Meanwhile, the Food and Drug Administration is reportedly trying to issue an emergency use authorization for Pfizer and BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine by today. This comes after an FDA committee gave the vaccine its approval for emergency use yesterday. And once the Centers for Disease Control signs off, deliveries can begin.
This may be the largest immunization campaign in the history of our state, and I'm confident that the Department of Health is ready and able to bring together a wide range of stakeholders to coordinate the vaccine distribution.
Well, the state is getting ready to begin vaccinations as soon as next week, with about 5,000 doses in the first shipment. Officials say that will be followed by another 75,000 doses of both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines by the end of the month. The health department plans to start by immunizing essential healthcare workers, staff and residents of long-term care facilities, and adults with high-risk medical conditions.
Once we get through this initial phase, we're going to have a lot of vaccine for people quite quickly.
I know people worry about vaccines, and I saw the comments out there that maybe about 50% intend to take it. I can tell you that I wouldn't put my family through something if I didn't have faith in it. And I look at this as an opportunity for us to take that next step away from the COVID crisis.
Now, both vaccines require 2 doses. The general public will be able to get vaccinated in a process being described as similar to the surge testing sometime next year. Today on Sunrise, we talked to Dr. Stephen Hankins, who co-chairs 2 Department of Health groups working on vaccines.
Let's start with this. Considering the specific conditions that these vaccines need and considering how far we are away and how far they'd have to travel, do you have any concerns about the safety of the vaccines or any potential delays we could have?
So specific to the ultra cold chain storage that many people are focusing on about the needs for this vaccine to stay at that minus 70 degree Celsius temperature. There have been extraordinary efforts for months from Pfizer itself throughout the distribution chain and certainly here locally to make sure that we do have the appropriate capacities for this. The company came up with a really excellent packaging system that constantly monitors these vaccines to make sure that they stay in temperature range even while they're in their distribution box. They also, that box that it comes in with appropriate management and recharging of dry ice allows for storage in that box for up to 20 days. So we actually have much more capacity. And once the vaccine is refrigerated, that allows an additional 5 days of storage. So no, I don't have any specific concerns about safety due to those logistical elements of it. The question about delays, anytime there is a massive logistical undertaking such as this, there is the potential that we could have, some challenges crop up in the system. But again, we're working across the state with our many partners at the county level, with our private and partners and Healthcare Association of Hawaii and the hospital and healthcare system, the partners at CVS and at Walgreens. So I think we're actually very well positioned to begin the implementation of vaccination.
Doctor, something that I found really interesting, we're getting supposedly 81,000 doses by the end of December. And rather than cutting that in half and making sure that we fully vaccinate 40,000 people, we've decided to give out first doses to the full 81,000. Why not save the doses and make sure you get the guarantee of 40,000 people that could do a lot of good within the hospitals and so forth?
Again, the folks at the federal level managing Operation Warp Speed have looked very carefully at capacities and the full expectation based on what they know about production and ability to increase distributions to the states is that we fully anticipate that with each week we will get larger and larger distributions. So they are factoring those second dose vials and into their projected push out to the states once that time period passes for the second dose. So that's already baked into their logistical consideration.
New today, Governor Andrew Cuomo has reinstated indoor dining restrictions indefinitely in New York City amid surging coronavirus cases and hospitalizations. The governor's order comes despite opposition from the restaurant industry, which warned of holiday season layoffs at a time when the federal government has yet to pass additional COVID-19 relief. Starting Monday, only takeout orders and outdoor dining will be allowed in the city. Asia was the first to experience coronavirus and the first to exit lockdowns, but the region is now experiencing alarming new spikes. Kelly Kobiea reports.
This morning, a worrying sign in Seoul, building makeshift hospitals out of shipping containers. ICU beds are filling up with COVID patients, and new daily cases are closing in on an all-time high.
지금은 코로나19가
South Korean disaster officials calling it the country's greatest crisis since the start of the pandemic. Across Asia, cases are now spiking in countries that manage the pandemic well. In South Korea, nearly 700 cases 3 days in a row, the highest since late February. In Japan, a new record high today of nearly 3,000 COVID infections. The virus also spreading in Hong Kong, Malaysia, Indonesia, Taiwan, and Vietnam. Cold weather and pandemic fatigue causing this new winter wave. People tired of wearing masks and staying home.
In the winter, because of low humidity, the virus will transmit easy. And also people tend to stay indoor. That also facilitate the transmission.
Health officials, particularly in South Korea, say they're having a harder time containing the virus this time around because instead of just seeing a cluster of cases, which they can track and trace, they're seeing the virus spreading widely in the community. They also say they're seeing more asymptomatic cases, which are virtually impossible to track and trace. Kelly Kobiea, NBC News, London.
UH economists predict a bleak winter. Howard Dykes reports.
UHERO, the UH Economic Research Organization, says COVID recovery began in the summer but has since been disrupted a lot. UHERO doesn't expect meaningful recovery now until next summer. Construction and real estate are rebounding, but tourism employs only a fourth of normal even now. Alaska Airlines says it has state approval to pre-clear passengers to Hawaii so they can start bypassing lines on arrival. A Maui pilot project went well, so this rolls out next week on flights to Honolulu and to Kona. Alaska isn't currently flying to Kauai at all. Government employee unions signal a court fight over Governor Ige imposing furloughs. State lawmakers are also critical of the plan, questioning the legality and suggesting the move won't save enough money. Hawaiian Airlines Ohana Division says it anticipates furloughing up to 64 employees if and when the prop operation closes at the end of January. That would be 33 pilots, 17 mechanics, 12 flight attendants, and 2 clerks.
Millions of dollars of Hawaii restaurant cards need to be used by next week or the money will disappear off the cards. Using CARES Act funding, the state sent out about 150,000 $500 debit cards to unemployed workers in October. Of the $74 million issued, only $52 million has been spent. For the remaining $22 million, the clock is ticking.
December 15th at 11:59 at night, the cards will then go zero. So people have to use their cards.
Money unspent will go back to the state. That's going to help pay back a loan taken out to help pay for all the unemployment claims. But the latest weekly unemployment numbers rose slightly, and our Casey Lund is still hearing from folks who are waiting on benefits for claims filed months ago.
Good afternoon. The number of weekly initial unemployment claims actually rose by 725 just this past week, which goes to show you that things really are not improving very quickly, and a lot of people are still out of work. People like Charles Siebert, who was a wine director for a resort on Maui, when he was furloughed this spring, he says his resort did reopen in November, but they're on a skeleton crew and haven't been able to bring him back yet. Like so many, his regular unemployment ran out this fall on October 10th. He applied and is still to this day waiting on the pandemic emergency unemployment compensation like so many others.
I've just blown through all my savings. Credit cards are maxed out and, 2 weeks from Christmas and, you try to call the hotline, but they give you no information. They just tell you to be patient. I've asked if there's any issues with any of my claims, and they said, no, they're not seeing any issues, that I just need to be patient. And, calling for 2 months and you wake up every morning, the first thing you do is you check your account, check your, it's frustrating. You don't sleep at night. I mean, it's insane.
Charles says he's reached out to state senators, representatives, and the director of DLIR, but has found little luck getting any assistance. Now, this morning, we had Senator Sharon Moriwaki on. She represents Hawaii's 12th district. This is what she had to say when I asked her about that call center where people call in and get hung up on. A voice recording just simply tells them that no one's available to take their call and they should try again later.
That is a big problem. At least, when we do, I call my constituents and my staff. Just having a live body, whether it's email or a voice, that they're working on it. And I know that more of my constituents are saying that they're getting a person and they're going to check on it and call them back. And again, sometimes when they call back, the claimant is not picking up because, it comes via just a phone call. So I know that there's a lot to be corrected, a lot to be improved. But I think that part of it is trying to connect the links,
Each week that we cover the unemployment crisis, we reach out to the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations, but for the last couple of months at least, they've denied our request for an interview on Sunrise. Reporting at the state capitol, I'm Casey Lund. Now back to you.
A charter plane that arrived from Arizona with 65 Hawaii prisoners was supposed to go back to Arizona yesterday morning with 200 prisoners from Halawa Correctional Facility. But an outbreak at Halawa forced officials to cancel their flight. Just hours before takeoff, Halawa went into lockdown after 3 inmates and 10 staff members tested positive. Now all transports have been halted for at least 2 weeks. Critics say that should be extended until the pandemic is over.
People say, well, why should we care what happens to inmates, right? These are criminals. And the problem is it affects our whole neighborhood. You have guards and workers that work inside these institutions that come in there and are subjected to the same thing.
Prison transfers do have support even now because housing inmates on the mainland is cheaper, and supporters say it reduces overcrowding in Hawaii facilities. A man accused of a violent sexual attack in downtown Honolulu is now under house arrest. Rick Daysog has the update.
Since his arrest, Michael Hirokawa has been free on $500,000 bail. But the Attorney General's office wanted the bail revoked, saying he's a danger to the community and a flight risk.
In all my years prosecuting, I have never filed a request for no bail. The facts in this case, the posture of this case, it warrants it.
Hirokawa is accused of a violent sexual assault that left a woman critically injured at his Capitol Place apartment in downtown Honolulu. A security guard found the victim naked and bleeding heavily from her groin area inside an elevator. Prosecutors say a trail of blood led back to Hirokawa's bed. But his attorney says his client has no criminal record and wants to clear his name.
Mr. Hirokawa is not a danger to the community. He is not a danger to witnesses, and he is not a danger to the complaining witness who does not reside here.
The judge kept the bail at $500,000, but ordered him to remain at his mother's house at all times except to attend court hearings. He also must be monitored by GPS.
Mr. Hirokawa is charged in this case with 5 offenses. 1 charge of attempted murder in the 2nd degree, 1 charge of kidnapping, and 3 charges of sexual assault in the 1st degree. All 5 of these offenses are serious crimes for bail analysis.
His trial is now set for February. Rick Daysog, Hawaii News Now.
We'll continue to follow that story for you and bring you any latest developments. We want to turn now to weather in Kaihage with a look at how the weekend's shaping up.
How's it on this Aloha Friday? The weather's looking pretty nice as we head into the weekend. That big storm system that's been blocking the trade winds for the last several days is now pulling away to the north. So trade wind weather will come back in. That means a few windward and Mauka showers, although this morning it's relatively dry. Now those winds are going to start to fill in today, running at moderate speeds today, getting especially windy by tomorrow. So for today, we'll have a typical trade wind weather day. Maybe a few clouds, a few showers for windward sides, but rainfall will be minimal. Lots of leeward sunshine will drive temperatures into the middle 80s, and there's a small craft advisory posted for the waters around Maui and the Big Island. Now, surf's on the way down, relatively small today. 4 to 6 might be a little bit of a optimistic number, but we are expecting a bigger swell to start moving in close to advisory levels on Sunday. Hopefully it comes early enough that they can run the Billabong Pipeline Masters. And there's still that small pulse rolling into South Shores. So we'll have rainbow weather from time to time, and those trade winds slowly stepping up. Tomorrow's going to be quite breezy, but that's only for a temporary time, because look what happened Sunday. We lose the trade winds. And also on Monday, look for increasing showers into the latter part of next week. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
A man who brought holiday cheer to Oahu along with his signature Christmas trees is being remembered this weekend. Richard Tajiri passed away back in January, and as Jim Mendoza reports, his family chose to honor him around Christmas because this was his favorite time of the year.
Besides Santa, another name rings the Christmas bell for people on Oahu. Richard Tajiri even had his own holiday title.
A long time ago, somebody says Godfather of Christmas tree in Hawaii or something. Now it's a Mr. Christmas.
For more than 4 decades, Tajiri shipped in fir trees from Washington State and Oregon and sold them at his pop-up tree lot. It's a long streak.
44th year, but 45th time we brought in trees.
This was the first one without Richard meeting and greeting customers.
Like, you didn't have to know him for him to be a fun person to talk to.
The family says he was meticulous about selecting trees.
Each time he went, he would get more and more picky about what things he wanted to take, until the very last moment we would end up with the best, I would say.
Tajiri passed away in January, just days after his 78th birthday. This weekend, the Tajiris will honor his memory, and they want the public to come.
We decided to do it this Sunday at 3 to 6.
This is where the drive-through memorial will take place. It's the same parking lot where the Tajiris sell their Christmas trees. 12 trees will be decorated and lit, and social distancing will be observed. Cards will be handed out so well-wishers can jot down a favorite story about getting a Tajiri tree.
I'd love to hear stories of customers who have been with my folks since before I was born.
Without Richard, Paula and Ami chose the trees and ran the sales, but they didn't feel alone.
He's still here, helping everybody.
As for next year,
most likely we'll be back.
That would make Mr. Christmas very, very happy. Jim Mendoza, Hawaii News Now.
What a legend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure so many families have so many stories about him.
For sure. Jim's posted that story online, but we're going to take a look at what else is buzzing on the internet right now. And for Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones fans, listen up, because Harrison Ford is back in his iconic role as Indy. It's set for July of 2022. That seems far off, but it really isn't. 41 years after his first installment of Raiders of the Lost Ark. 41 years!
Wow.
Oh no, I'm so old. This will be his 5th And final, allegedly, of the franchise. He's 78 years old. And go him.
Yeah,
Looks
why
great.
not?
Yeah.
And you know, the new indie movie is just one of dozens of projects Disney recently announced. Everything from Star Wars to Marvel and a long-form musical series taking us back to the Pacific. Moana is coming back and the series will play on Disney+. There's no word if Hawaii's Auli'i Carvalho will reprise her role as the title character or if Dwayne Johnson will appear as Maui. We'll have to wait a while too because the series won't premiere until 2023.
Whoa.
Yeah. And heads up pet owners, for the first time ever, Petco will offer same-day delivery of pet supplies to its customers nationwide. Now, the pet supply and service retailer is partnering with DoorDash in the effort. Petco says there won't be a delivery fee as long as you order over $35 worth of stuff. Now, the retailer has also revamped its website and app for what it says will be a better customer experience, and orders placed before 2 p.m. local time would be eligible for the same-day service.
Hope my cat Dracula is not watching that story. Well, Ashley, you say tomato?
I say tomato?
Yeah. Well, there's a mispronunciation that is making a buzz of the internet. Let's have Jeannie Mose explain.
Right.
Microwave is the new tomato.
You like tomato, and I like tomato.
You may say microwave, but Nigella says...
A bit of milk, full fat, which I've warmed in the microwave.
The micro what?
In the microwave.
TV chef Nigella Lawson's pronunciation sure did press the internet's buttons. Eternally grateful to Nigella Lawson for letting us know we've all been mispronouncing microwave for the last 50 or so years.
Which I've warmed in the microwave.
Uh-oh, Nigella must be right. We stand corrected. Fans swore allegiance to microwave. From this day forward, I'll never pronounce it any other way. Someone changed the microwave's Wikipedia entry to include, commonly referred to as a microwave. They sell them at Target, noted someone.
Some people call it Target, of course.
That's right. You remember Target.
Well, it used to be Target. I think it might be back to Target now.
But it's not back to microwave yet. Nigella responded to her followers, well, I do say it like that, but not because I think that's how it's actually pronounced. Folks shared their favorite deliberate mispronunciations. We call the compartment in the bottom of the fridge where you keep lettuces and things like that the salador. Someone even renamed their microwave. Harper's Bazaar said Nigella pronounces it like a Harry Potter spell.
Expecto Patronum!
But even those who fell under its spell couldn't agree on how to spell microwave. Nigella herself couldn't resist reposting someone's joke about her collaboration with IKEA, the microwave milk warmer. If you can't remember how to say wave, someone helpfully noted,
Suave.
It rhymes with this one-hit wonder. Woke up this morning and first thing that came into my head was Nigella Lawson saying microwave. The other day she went viral for advocating double buttered toast. Now it's pronouncing microwave. Nigella sure has been making waves. Make that waves. Jeannie Mose, CNN.
In the microwave.
Microwave.
In the microwave.
New York.
Amazing, amazing. And now Rico Suave in my head.
All day.
Happy Aloha Friday, guys. Woo! We'll be back on Monday. Woohoo.